And we'll welcome to the main stage now Colorado head coach Tad Boyle and student athletes Nique Clifford and Tristan Silva. Go ahead and grab those mics, and Coach, I'll give you a few moments for some opening remarks, and then we'll turn it over to questions.
Well, it's good to be back in San Francisco for another media day, and really excited about our team this year. We've got some really good returning players who are going to need to step up into different roles than what they've had in years past, and two of them are right here. We lost some really good players off last year's team, but I love where our program is right now. We've had great continuity in our coaching staff. We've had great continuity with our players, and these are two examples of the development, I think, that our staff has done when they both came in as freshmen, and now they're going into their junior year, and they're going to be breakout players for us this year. And we've got a couple others on our roster as well. So great to be with you.
All right, we'll turn it over to questions now with the media. And I assume we'll start with Pat Rooney.
It's a good assumption.
Pat Rooney, Boulder Daily Camera. Tad, obviously player development has been kind of the big pillar of your program throughout your tenure in Boulder. Obviously times have changed. You have 3 transfers on the roster this year. How have you and your staff kind of gone about adjusting to this new landscape and kind of plugging those holes with the transfer portal?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We haven't taken a lot of 4-year transfers at Colorado. We've had a handful of them in the 12 years I've been there, but we really look at the graduate transfers as a way to plug holes in your roster, and we've got 2 of them this year, both from the Ivy League, Ethan Wright from Princeton and Jalen Gabadon from Yale. But we feel like graduate transfers bring a certain amount of experience. They've done what they set out to do, which is graduate from college. They've graduated from whatever institution they went to. Jariah Horn went to Tulsa, graduated, and now they're looking for an extra year to see what they can do. And so they usually come in with an attitude of, I got 1 year, let's make the most of it. And Ethan and Jalen have both done that. They're both coming from winning programs, Yale and Princeton, well coached, big-time culture guys that understand the team comes first. We really shy away from a lot of 4-year transfers just because you don't know what you're going to get. And usually they're transferring for a reason. Not saying that we'll never do that or take that, but we're very, very cautious if we do that. The other kid we have that's new, a transfer, was a junior college transfer, and it was he started his career at Northeastern, and then went to Indian Hills Community College, Javon Hadley, and he's going to be a terrific addition as well. So the 3 guys we brought in, even though they're transfers, they're not your typical 4 to 4 year transfers. There are 2 are graduate and one JUCO kid that started out at Northeastern. So all bring something to the table, and you're going to see a lot of those guys as well.
Go to Ryan here in the front.
Through the scrimmages you've had so far, what have you learned from those showcases, and who's really stood out and risen to the occasion in those opportunities?
We've learned a lot. You know, we've learned a lot as a team. These 2 guys have had, again, great off seasons. What you want to see in those scrimmages, whether it's inter-squad scrimmages or against somebody else, is you want to see what have they added to their game. You know, what have they improved upon. And both these guys, along with, you know, guys like Lawson Lovering, Luke O'Brien, KJ Simpson, Julian Hammond. We've had a lot of guys that have shown what they can do in those scrimmages. We still have a lot to get better at. Our transition defense might be the worst in the country right now. Just ask these guys, right? We watched a little bit of film on that. But so there's always things to work on. But, again, you want to see, have your players been in the gym? Have they worked on their games? And these guys certainly have. And I think you're going to see a lot of breakout players for Colorado this year.
We're going to go back to Matt. Sorry, right.
Tad, just you've been in the league a long time. Just your thoughts on what stands out, what's unique about this league this season, the teams that are in it.
You know, it's funny when you do the group photo and you see all the players, and I look at guys like Jaime Jaquez and Tiger Campbell. I'm like, I can't believe they haven't graduated yet. I can't wait to see them on the other side. But there's got a lot of good returning players, throughout the league, and I think you get so dialed into your program. I try not to look at recruiting and stuff that's going on in other programs. My assistants coaches tell me, but sometimes I'll remember, sometimes I won't. But then you come to a day like this and you see what everybody else has got. And obviously we've got some terrific players in this league, some terrific coaches, some really good programs. So it kind of gets your juices flowing, your competitive juices flowing, and another season's upon us. But this is a great league. I think we've got to win games in November and December. We've got to gain some credibility nationally, and the only way you do that is by beating good quality non-conference opponents. And we all have that opportunity to get that done. Last year we didn't get it done, and it hurt us. It hurt us as a program. This year hopefully we can all take a step in the right direction.
We're going to go back to Pat.
Pat Rooney, Boulder Camera. For the players, you guys were picked 6th in the preseason poll announced this morning, and typically in this program, and certainly you guys this couple years, the team has typically outperformed the projection from the preseason. Do you guys take these sort of things to heart? Do you use it as motivation, and do you kind of expect to go out and try to prove people wrong again this year?
I'm gonna just take this first. First and foremost, we focus on ourselves. I think that's the most important thing. But it's definitely an outside influence that we look at, and we, try to prove people wrong. Try to be more hungry than people assume. So it's definitely going to be one of the things that we look at once season comes around, and once it's on, that we can reference back to and use it as extra motivation.
We're going to go to Kevin Dana in the front right.
Kevin Dana, Pac-12 Networks. Coach, you are going to be the first Pac-12 team that makes a road trip for the Pac-12 SWAC Challenge this year. You have the first game on the schedule at Grambling State. Just curious kind of what activities you have planned around that game, because I know it's also an educational experience for the players, your thoughts on the series, and then for the players, what's it like for you to be a part of this series?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the educational things we're going to do will probably be up until that trip. I mean, once we get on the plane and go to Grambling, we're going there to win. I mean, we're going to do some things while we're there. The itinerary hasn't been shared with me yet. But from my standpoint, we're going to use that week leading up to that game to help educate our players and our coaches and everybody in our program, managers, about the historical significance of HBCUs and specifically maybe Grambling and what's gone on in the past. And it's a great opportunity for us to reflect on that and get these guys to understand, what these colleges and what these programs have been through the years. It's a great time to look at history and reflect and understand more about that process.
It's going to be a great opportunity for us as a team and our conference to go on these HBCU trips. We have a lot of black student athletes on our team, so it's going to be great to learn that history and be able to embrace that. And it's just another opportunity for us to compete at a high level against good teams who are somewhat overlooked. So we're definitely excited for the trip, and we're ready to take care of business.
We're going to come up to the front left to Ryan.
For both players, there's a lot made about the guys who aren't back from last year. For those who are, you guys are around it every day, what's going to surprise fans about this team? What or who, I guess, is going to surprise fans?
I think we have an exciting young group of guys. It's a whole new team than last year. We lost Evan Batty, Jabari Walker, some really key players. And so we're excited to have a new group and new faces in Boulder that our fans can be excited about, watching a whole new team. We have a really deep team, I feel like. And so a lot of guys that could play a bunch of different positions. So we have a lot of versatility. And so I think we're really excited just going into this year to show people what we could do.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. Completely different look from last year's team. A lot of people that left from last year to this year. And, you know, the roles have kind of changed. And we're really looking forward to it. I love playing with these guys. I love competing out there with them, putting it on the line for them. So, yeah, it's going to be – I feel like we got a really unselfish group of guys, high energy, high character guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun stepping out there on the court with them.
We're going to let Ryan follow up, then we're going to go to Eldridge, then Ben.
Tad, given all that, how close are you to kind of figuring out the rotation? Do you have clarity at this point of how that looks, or is it still a work in progress?
Well, as Nique said, we're going to be a deep team, and it's interesting. You know, we'll probably start Lawson Lovering, our 7-foot sophomore, you know, at center, and he's a unique player and somebody that's different than anybody else in our program. He's much improved, much more confident, big and strong, and then, you know, when he comes out of the game, you know, Tristan may start at the 3 spot, and then when Lawson comes out, Tristan may move over to the 4 spot, and then or the 5 spot, excuse me, and then you know, if Javon Hadley's in the game, he may play the 5, and Tristan may play the 4. So, you know, these two guys are really versatile. But I think with our team this year, especially on the front line, we're gonna have to kind of mix and match and figure things out. And then, you know, on the wing, you know, having guys like Luke O'Brien and Nique and some of the new guys that are coming in, Jalen Gabadon from Yale, Ethan Wright, and in our backcourt, we're going to have a lot of versatility. So you're always going to have injuries. You know, you don't want to have too many of them, but you have to adjust accordingly. But I think our team is built to sustain that, and we've had some guys out of practice, but we don't skip a beat because our depth is going to be a major factor for us this year as we go through this season.
We got 2 more. We'll go to Eldridge, then Ben.
Eldridge Cavs and Pac-12 Network. Coach, first I just want to say I'm always impressed with the job that you do. I usually get one of your games every year. You've had 2 guys as leaders. I want to ask, the first question is for you. Who's your leader going to be this year? Because you've had 2 guys in the past, and McKinley Wright and Evan Batty, and I got to be honest, I've been around the Pac-12 for 37 years now, and I've never seen 2 guys as loved by a school like those 2 guys were. So who's your leader this year?
You're looking at him. I mean, I think Tristan is a guy, again, who's played with Evan, played with McKinley. So did Nique. Nique kind of followed in the footsteps of Deshaun Schwartz, right? Deshaun was a good leader for us as well, and Nique comes from his same hometown. So both these guys have learned from those guys that you've just talked about. And we've talked about it in our meetings that we have. Like, it's now their time to step up. And leadership, you only find out about leadership is when adversity hits. And it's not a matter of if it's going to hit, it's when. And when we hit it, I'm going to lean on these 2 guys to get that locker room right and get things going in the right direction, because that's what you have to have. You have to have players that understand what it takes, and these guys do understand it. They haven't been through it before. When things have gotten tough in the past, they've been looking to McKinley or looking to Evan. Now they got to look in the mirror, and then they got to turn around and get the locker room right. But I got 100% confidence in these guys, and I think that's the continuity that I was referring to earlier. It's not just, you know, freshmen become sophomores and sophomores become juniors. They got to be improving, and then they've got to also learn that when you go from your sophomore year to your junior year, or your junior to your senior year, there's certain expectations that come with that as well. And these guys are prepared for it and ready for it.
One more for you. How proud are you every time I watch the Boston Celtics and I see Derek White out there? How proud are you of him?
Oh, boy. I'm more proud of the person that Derek White is. I know he's a hell of a player. I knew that when we recruited him. I knew that when he played for us, when he was sitting out and practicing with us. So he's a terrific player, and certainly there's a lot of pride that goes, you know, through our players, through Buff Nation. But I'm more impressed when Derek comes back to campus. He just had a son. He brings his wife. He's the same guy today that he was when we recruited him, and that can't be said, as you know, Eldridge, for a lot of NBA players. And so I'm more proud of Derek White, the person, than I am Derek White, the player, because of who he is and how he carries himself.
Gotcha. And for the players, how much do you guys know about Grambling? Have you guys heard of Willis Reed and Eddie Robinson? Do you guys know? I'm from Louisiana, so obviously I know Coach Boyle knows. But have you guys heard of those guys? Do you guys know who Willis Reed is, who Eddie Robinson is? And one thing that I want to say to you guys, I think it's going to be an eye-opening experience because the Pac-12 schools have so much money, man, and these HBCUs a lot of times are really, really struggling. So when you guys go down there, I think it's going to be an eye-opening experience where you're just going to say, wow, because you may take for granted what you have here in the Pac-12, but once you see the SWAC and how those schools are operating, it's really going to be an eye-opening experience. But you guys have any idea of the history of Grambling at all?
I've heard the name Willis Reed. I kind of know like him as a basketball player, but I don't know too much about Grambling State itself. And that's why it's such a great opportunity for us to learn more about these type of schools and like the things they experience on a daily compared to what we experience in the Pac-12. It's, like you said, it's definitely totally different. And that's why we're so excited to go there and learn about these type of things. And just learn their history and the type of players that have come out of these different programs. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I know the rest of my teammates are as well.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I'm really excited to learn about it. I'm really willing to learn about it. I don't have a lot of background, you know, just because I don't really have an overall college background on U.S. universities like that. But I'm really excited for it, and I think it's going to be a great experience for us.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Quickly to Ben.
I may have to pull, Eldred, I may have to pull out the Willis Reed Game 7 walking out on the garden floor. If that doesn't inspire these guys, I don't know what will.
I'll make this quick. Ben Parker, CardinalSportsPark.com. First of all, I didn't know Willis Reed played at Grambling State, so Eldridge is educating me today as well. So that's awesome. Tristan, I just want to get your thoughts on your brother, Oscar, who's older than you and played at Stanford, and just your relationship with him and just kind of how he's helped you grow and develop as a basketball player.
I mean, our relationship, he's my brother. I mean, I don't really know. We're best friends. We're, you know, he's my older brother. I come to him when I need advice. We've just talked a week ago. He's now back in Barcelona playing with Corey Higgins, a former Buff as well. And he's enjoying himself. He's having a great time out there. We talk regularly, and you know, whenever things get tough or whenever things are not going my way, I always know that he's going to be in my corner. I always know that I can reach out to him, and he's going to, you know, give me advice on his 4-year trip at Stanford. And I mean, he's been through it all from a college experience, I feel like. So it's a great shoulder to lean on. It's a great resource, I guess, to have. But yeah.